Hi, I'm Rachel Morgan, and this is the story of how my sister learned that success isn't always visible from the outside. While she climbed the corporate ladder in Manhattan, I was quietly building an empire from my classroom, proving that sometimes the biggest victories come from staying true to yourself. I always loved that Victorian mansion on Maple Drive. Even as kids, Emma and I would bike past it after school, dreaming about living there someday. "I'll buy it when I'm rich and successful," Emma would declare, while I simply smiled and took photos for my vision board. That house, with its wraparound porch and intricate woodwork, represented everything we hoped to achieve. Our paths diverged after high school. Emma went to an elite business school, determined to conquer Wall Street. I chose to become a high school math teacher, following our mother's footsteps. "You're wasting your potential," Emma would say during her rare visits home. "Teaching, really? With your math skills?" What Emma never understood was that I was using those math skills, just not in the way she expected. While she was pulling all-nighters at investment banks, I was developing an algorithm for predicting real estate market trends. During summer breaks, while she networked at Hampton parties, I was quietly buying and flipping properties in emerging neighborhoods. Mom knew my secret. She'd helped me incorporate my first investment company, Morgan Educational Properties, a name that made everyone assume I was running after-school programs. "Some people need to show off their success," she'd say, helping me analyze market data. "Others need to keep it quiet to stay successful." Within 10 years, my little side project had grown into a real estate portfolio worth over $100 million. I managed everything through shell corporations, trusts, and clever legal structures that kept my name out of public records. To the world, I remained Miss Morgan, the dedicated math teacher who drove a modest Honda and lived in a cozy bungalow. Emma's success was more visible. Vice president at 32, Manhattan penthouse, designer wardrobe. She became everything she dreamed of being. With each achievement, her disdain for my small life grew stronger. "When are you going to do something with your life?" she'd ask at family gatherings. "You can't grade papers forever." Then came the day that changed everything. Mom's sudden passing from a heart attack. The loss devastated us both, but we grieved differently. I threw myself into teaching, finding solace in my students' energy. Emma threw herself into acquiring the Victorian mansion on Maple Drive, which had recently come on the market. At Mom's funeral reception, held in our childhood home, Emma couldn't resist making an announcement. Standing in front of our gathered family and friends, champagne flute in hand, she smiled her perfect corporate smile. "Mom always taught us to chase our dreams," she began, her voice carrying across the hushed living room. "And I'm proud to announce that I've just made an offer on the Victorian mansion on Maple Drive. You remember, Rachel? The one we used to dream about as kids?" I nodded, sipping my water quietly. "Of course, I'll be renovating it completely," she continued. "Maybe I'll even let you house sit sometimes, sis. Since we both know you'll never afford it on a teacher's salary." The room filled with uncomfortable chuckles. Our Aunt Patricia patted my hand sympathetically, while our cousins avoided eye contact. Emma basked in the attention, already describing her renovation plans. What she didn't know was that I'd purchased that house 3 years ago through one of my corporations. I'd been quietly restoring it, learning its history, preserving its character. Mom had helped me research the original blueprints. It was one of our last projects together. I stayed silent through Emma's speech, through her detailed descriptions of how she'd modernize the historic woodwork, through her thinly veiled jabs at my career choices. But when she mentioned tearing out the library, Mom's favorite room in any house, something inside me shifted. That evening, after the guests had left, I found myself in Mom's study, staring at her desk. In her will, she'd left instructions about revealing certain documents a week after her funeral. Among them was the true ownership deed to the Victorian mansion, along with a letter explaining exactly who had become the successful businesswoman she always hoped we'd both be. As I sat in Mom's chair, running my fingers over the envelope that would change everything, I thought about all the years of condescension, of being underestimated, of quietly building something meaningful while my sister chased external validation. Tomorrow, the family would gather for the reading of Mom's will. Tomorrow, Emma would learn that her unsuccessful little sister owned not just her dream house, but half the commercial real estate in our growing town. But tonight I had some calls to make. After all, Emma's offer on my house would need to be formally rejected. The next morning, we gathered in Mr. Peterson's law office. He'd been our family's attorney for 30 years, and I could see the subtle smile playing at the corners of his mouth as he prepared to read Mom's will. Emma sat beside me, scrolling through design magazines on her tablet, occasionally showing me pictures of how she planned to modernize my house. Now, Mr. Peterson began, adjusting his reading glasses. Before we proceed with the standard provisions, Sarah left specific instructions about revealing certain documents first. He pulled out a thick manila envelope. These are to be discussed before any other aspects of the will. Emma finally looked up from her tablet. Documents? What documents? Mr. Peterson removed several folders from the envelope. The first item is regarding the Victorian mansion at 1847 Maple Drive. Oh. Emma straightened, smoothing her designer's suit. Perfect timing. I just made an offer yesterday. Yes. Mr. Peterson nodded. About that offer. He slid a document across the table. This is the current deed to the property, along with its ownership history for the past 3 years. Emma grabbed the paper eagerly, then froze. Her perfectly manicured fingers tightened on the document as she read it once, twice, 3 times. This must be a mistake. No mistake, Mr. Peterson said quietly. The property has been owned by Morgan Educational Properties since 2020, along with, I might add, approximately 60% of the commercial real estate in the downtown area. Emma's head snapped up. Morgan Educational, Rachel? Her voice cracked on my name. This is some kind of joke, right? I took out my phone and pulled up the Morgan Properties portfolio app I developed. No joke, Emma. Here's the current portfolio overview. I slid the phone across the table. Mom helped me set up the company 15 years ago. She was my silent partner and chief advisor. Emma stared at the screen, her face draining of color as she scrolled through property after property. The historic theater downtown. The new tech startup hub. The luxury apartment complex by the river. All mine. But you're a teacher, she whispered. Yes, I am. I smiled, thinking of my students, and I'm also a successful real estate investor. The two aren't mutually exclusive. Mrs. Morgan left a letter explaining everything. Mr. Peterson interjected, pulling out an envelope in Mom's familiar handwriting. She asked that I read it aloud. My dearest daughters, if you're hearing this, then it's time for the truth to come out. Emma, your drive and ambition have taken you far in the corporate world, and I'm proud of what you've achieved. But in your pursuit of visible success, you've forgotten something important. True worth isn't measured by what others can see. Rachel understood this from the beginning. While you were climbing corporate ladders, she was building foundations, not just in real estate, but in the lives of her students. She proved that you don't have to choose between doing good and doing well. The Victorian mansion you both loved as children, Rachel bought it 3 years ago. She's been restoring it carefully, preserving its history while quietly making it a home. Emma, all those times you mocked her salary, she could have bought your Manhattan penthouse 10 times over. But Rachel chose to keep her success quiet, understanding that sometimes the best power is the power others don't know you have. The portfolio she's built isn't just impressive, it's transformative. She's revitalized our downtown, created affordable housing, and supported local businesses, all while teaching the next generation. It's time for both of you to see each other clearly. Emma, your sister isn't just a teacher, she's one of the most successful business owners in the state. And Rachel, your sister isn't just a corporate climber. She has valuable skills that could complement yours if you both let go of old patterns. My greatest hope is that this revelation brings you closer, not further apart. Success comes in many forms, and family is the greatest success of all. Love, Mom. Silence filled the office as Mr. Peterson finished reading. Emma's hands were shaking as she set down her phone. My portfolio app still displaying numbers that dwarfed her own net worth. The library, she said finally, her voice small. Yesterday at the funeral, I talked about tearing out the library, but you'd already restored it, hadn't you? I nodded. Mom helped me find period-appropriate fixtures. It was our last project together. Emma's composure finally cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks, smearing her perfect makeup. I've been so horrible to you. All these years, looking down on you, pitying you, and you were building an empire right under my nose. An empire isn't worth much without family to share it with, I said softly. Mom taught me that. What happened next surprised us both. Emma started laughing, real laughter, not her practiced corporate chuckle. My little sister, the secret real estate mogul. All those times I tried to explain investment strategies to you. While I was calculating cap rates in my head, I finished starting to laugh too. We spent the next few hours going through Mom's papers, discovering more about how she helped shape my business while keeping Emma's corporate drive balanced. She'd been preparing for this moment for years, laying the groundwork for us to finally see each other clearly. In the end, Emma didn't move to the Victorian mansion. Instead, she asked to invest in Morgan Educational Properties, bringing her corporate expertise to help expand our impact. We restored Mom's favorite room, the library, as a community learning space, hosting free financial literacy classes for local students. These days, Emma still works in corporate finance, but she's different. She teaches evening classes at my school sometimes, showing students how to navigate the business world without losing themselves. And me? I still drive my Honda to school every day, still grade papers until late at night. But now Emma knows that the Just a Teacher is also her business partner, her sister, and maybe finally her friend. The Victorian mansion on Maple Drive stands as a testament to our journey. From the outside, it looks like a beautifully restored piece of history. But inside, in the library Mom helped design, two sisters meet every Sunday to discuss business strategy, share teaching stories, and remember that sometimes the quietest success stories are the most meaningful ones. Last week, a student asked me the secret to success. I thought about Mom's letter, about Emma's transformation, about the power of quiet achievement. Success, I told them, isn't about what you have or what others see. It's about staying true to yourself while building something meaningful, even if no one else knows you're building it. Emma, sitting in on my class that day, actually clapped.